Society guilty of police brutality against me. The brutal society brutal.
Yes, listeners, pleasant morning to you and one and
My
all.
society
You are tuned into Real FM 91. And at this time, after a long rest, let me say, you would realize that it is another bright one. Yeah, we had some showers at certain part of the island last night into the morning, but the sun is out greeting us nicely. And I am your humble servant, Jessel Grant, Corporal of Police, attached to the Eastern Division. And whenever you hear my voice on a Wednesday morning, it is the conversation with the RGPF. And in studio with me is one of our special guests. We don't normally have them in studios. So short, you would know what is it about. God bless. Stay tuned. Call a friend, call a neighbor, call a family member, and let them know the conversation with the RGPF is on.
Police walking on eggshells for you. We never get it right. It's not just the criminals, but society gives the biggest fight. Unwarranted slander we endure every day. Police is police just for the government. Hey, oh gosh, I put you before my family. With my life I protect you daily, but before I make a flaw, you're ready to hand me stewards of the law. Remember when they kill Renty, you said I'm police too jokey. No man fight with.
So yes, listeners, we are here, and it is the conversation with the RGPF, and we are already 14 minutes into our hour, and we'll go straight into a program. I'll just do a slight difference this morning. Normally, I would introduce my guest, but I will ask my guest to introduce himself this morning. Good morning to you, sir, and how are you?
Good morning. It's indeed a pleasure to be here on Real, Keeping It Real FM.
You just come and changing people's station names, so
Yes.
keep that real.
Sometimes.
Andre, Mr. Donald, not
I
Grant.
see. No, just read it off the board there. Real
Okay.
FM 91.9. Keep it real.
Keep it real.
Yes, and we tried our best to keep it real this morning by touching on a couple issues. But before I venture into the areas of concerns and interests, some of you can easily recognize the voice. Those of you in the northern part of Grenada, Carriacou, Petite Martinique, you would have recognized the voice of Iso Pierre, Superintendent of Police, and presently the commander of the Eastern Division. I mentioned the Northern Division. As the Northern Division, I recently had my stint, and it was indeed a privilege to work out at the North. So here am I in the Eastern Division. Superintendent Iso Pierre. I've been a member of the Royal Grenada Police Force, moving on to 38 years of service. I've worked at the Criminal Investigation Department for a while, also Narcotics Drug Squad, Special Branch. I had a stint at the Immigration Department. At Immigration, I oversee the transformation of the Immigration Department in introducing a new border management system, and also the moving from our e-pass or a machine-readable passport to our e-passport. So I was part and parcel of that transition. The area that we will look at today, well, we'll try to be diverse as possible, all encompassing. And I say so because I want to set the platform, set the stage for the individuals that will come after me. in that these individuals will further enhance our strategic approach to dealing and engaging the general public. I want to start by, again, by bringing to your attention some statistical information. So the Eastern Division, I mentioned, comprises the Grenville Police Station or Policing District, St. David's Policing District, or Birch Grove Policing District, Hermitage Policing District. And for the period which will reflect, this would be the first half of 2022. First half of 2022, the division, Eastern Division, recorded a total of 3,322 reports, a decrease of 3.6% from so let me take that again. 3,203 reports compared to 3,322 from the previous period, a decrease of 3.6%, which is a total of 119 reports, with a detection rate of 85.1%. There were increases in the area of harm offense, property offenses, weapon offenses, and with other areas recording decreases. And as I say,
just to interject you, sir, you made a point there that I think listeners probably asking, well, 2022 in comparison to 2021, there was a decrease of 100+ reports. From where you sit, do you have any idea or as to why that decrease would have came about? Okay, you go into that. Okay, so I'll allow you to flow.
We'll start to address that. We seek to address that shortly.
Okay.
But let me just run the figures, and then perhaps, because one thing I recall the Commissioner of Police indicating, we don't have the answers.
Right.
The public has some suggestions. And we know that there are some suggestions. So we want to encourage the suggestions, how the situation impacts you out there. But let me just further enhance. And I said that the other persons will be coming later in the upcoming weeks, month. And things like property offenses, you hear the word property offenses, you hear the word harm offenses. This will be further drilled down by these individuals from, let's say, criminal investigation department and so forth. Right. So the harm offenses, you had in 2021, we had 378. And in 2022, 389. Any harm experienced by anyone is a discomfort. So we need to look at these two figures in the harm offenses and try to identify ways and means in which we can further reduce same. Threats, we had 911 2021, 872 in 2022. Again, it's too high. It is too high. Sex offenses, 60 as opposed to 55 in 2022. Violation of one's privacy and body is also cause for concern. And property offenses, 831, 907. So the officers that come after me will come back with these figures, and they'll, as I say, further reiterate and explain the nature of these offenses. But before I get from the public what they think that the police should be doing, and how law enforcement had been impacting their lives, because I'm here to understand what the situation is out there a little further. Yes, I have my statistics here with me, but stats is only what, as I said, is reported. It's what had been reported. How you're impacting is a different situation. And so let me just quickly move on to identify, and maybe hearing, as I touch on the Eastern Division strategic plan, one can identify that we are considering how we can engage and how we can move forward in dealing with these worrying situation. In addition to this first half statistics, every week, the crime situation is tabulated and analyzed. And what I can say is that the trajectory is not in the right direction. I would want to use a little skit I saw with is a cartoon, and there was this guy with a chart, and he was presenting to the let's say the bosses, and the arrow was pointing upwards, and some little guy came and turned the chart around, and now the arrow was pointing down, and somewhere there is someone, maybe all of us, somebody somewhere within the community who can assist in just turning that chart in the opposite direction so that we can see the figures going down. 172 reports for 1 week, in my estimation, is too much. And 172 does not mean it's 172% full stop, because in every instance, you have a complainant who is the aggrieved person, and then you have the accused or the defendant. So you have, right off the bat, a doubling of the 174.
Right.
And as such, we need to consider what we can do to change the chart and let it point in the other direction. So we have looked at our strategic focus, our strategic plan, and it is nothing new. I'm not bringing a new approach per se, but if you can influence what we are doing and how we are doing it, then it will august well for all and sundry, for all of us. So we have identified that we need to have more community engagement. Community engagement will be the whole question of, you see the police from time to time walking through the community. So they're taking the station away from Greenville, for example, and now they're in the community of Mount Horn, in the community of Paraclete, Paradise, Lafayette, and so on, Birch Grove, Adelphi. They're in the community, engaging individuals, and so we use that opportunity to garner information, to meet with persons, to assist individuals as we go along. So we want to build public confidence and improve effectiveness and efficiency. We want to maintain and low crime and decreasing incidence of crime. So within the detection and prevention, for example, we always look at the whole question of awareness. So as I said, upcoming couple of weeks, we will do what we can to make persons more aware of and educate persons as to what they can do in partnering. Let me just coin a phrase here. It is about the public guardianship, the public's guardianship. And I don't want to grab, I just feel to just talk and go on and on. But let me just take a break from this point and just reiterate the whole question and importance of guardianship, ownership of your community.
It's important. So in light of all of that, and I know for a fact that you have a great passion for community engagement. In short, community policing, the police and the community working together, community and police working together, police and community working together, vice versa, creating that bridge. Now, you spoke of other departments to come. What are some of the areas that the community can see in deeper engagement in? So I know you have, well, may I add to say you are one of the very lucky divisional commanders to have a mini force. The only department you're missing is that of Coast Guard. And you still have the authority when needed to summons them.
Yes.
Right. So in light of the various departments that you have under your command, what are some of the improvements that our communities can see in terms of community engagement and making it safer for them?
Right. So I'm hoping that as of next week, we can have at this very said medium the appearance or presence of officers from the various units, departments of the division. And yes, I also have considered the presence of person from the Coast Guard. So we can have the officers here looking at the whole question of category of crime, for example, property or crime particularly. They will seek to enlighten the public on target hardening, with respect to, and they will explain these terminologies. I would hope that the officers will touch on areas of pre-deal larceny, the proactive approaches to instances of pre-deal larceny, instances meaning how you can prevent rather than having to go straight into detection and so forth. But I always say for pre-deal larceny, I always bring to the mind the Spencer and Bulldog story. I said I'm 38 years in the work, so a lot of persons will understand the Spencer Bulldog story, where Bulldog says, "I'm going to take that planting," and Bulldog remain on watch up to midnight. And as he turned away and he looked back, all he saw was a trip. And that, therein lies the partnership that is expected in pre-deal larceny. You can do that much. You can do so much. The police can do so much. But if we partner together, in a holistic way, and not just only for pre-deal larceny, then we can contribute each and every one of us to the solution. So we'll also look at, because we're going into the festive season and so on, we're going to look at how to apply for your license for liquor dealers, both temporary and permanent. We'll look at noise pollution, the regulation, guidelines to obtaining a permit, the responsibility of persons when permits are granted to them. Further information on the strategic focus on the traffic side, which will touch on safer streets. I know there's a concern with derelict vehicle. There is a concern not only to individuals in the community. There had been stated approaches with respect to this. And another burning issue is the obstruction that these vehicles, not only derelict, faced by the fire department. So fire will come and also speak about accessibility and so on. Importantly, and as I mentioned, the causing harm and so on, is an issue of conflict resolution. And I hope that one of my personnel will come and speak to you and engage you on the whole question of conflict resolution, how you can contribute to your own personal safety and that of others. The others say, when something just count from 1001 in your mind, 1001, 1002, 1003, 1004, 1005. And that anger, you hope that anger or that situation will disappear as the planting in the case with Bulldog. That is the only good thing you look for in terms of this disappearance. And then matter can be resolved. Not always, because you have some person that are constantly taunting, but we can look at how we can resolve conflicts, resolve situations in a more amicable, peaceful manner. As I say, one person, when you're harmed, it's not a good, comforting feeling. And similarly, when our life is lost, it's not an easy thing. We'll also look at the whole question of what tips is consistent or necessary, what we can say to the general public in terms of staying safe during the Yuletide or Christmas season. The officers will come and lend their views or their understanding, their knowledge with respect to being safe around this time. These are some of the topics and areas that we'll hope that can also benefit us in terms of reducing the incidence of crime and discomfort, not only for the Yuletide season, henceforth, going forward.
So listeners, yes, I know my officer has a lot of information that he wants to disseminate. And this is just the start of plenty to come. And as he outlined to you, the different departments that will be coming in at this same location so that the information can reach. But bear in mind, listeners, you are tuned into The Conversation with the RGPF, and we'll be taking a brief commercial break. And as we return, remember, it's an open line. So when we return, you can start with your call, concerns, or any comments that you wish to share. We'll take a brief break and we'll be right back.
Police walking on eggshells for you. We never get it right. It's not just the criminals, but society gives the biggest fight. Unwarranted slander we endure every day. You say police is police just for the government's pay. Oh gosh, I put put you before my family. With my life, I protect you daily. But before I make a flaw, you're ready to hand this to a daddy law. Remember when they kill Renty? You said I'm police too choky. No man fights with police and dead. You said the force is where killers are bred. So when I hear you complaining, I have to agree. Is you society guilty of police brutality against me? The brutal society brutal. Oh gosh, they brutal. My society brutal.
Yes, it's the conversation with the RGPF. And this morning is just, a tip as to all that is to come for the Yuletide season and beyond. Yuletide is Christmas, right? So it's just to let you know. But it always gives that sense of awareness and hope when we have our administrators with us. And oftentimes when the public hears it from the bosses, then you have a better buy-in because they realize that there are a sync or a synergy between the lower ranks and the management system. So far, he has looked at the crime situation within the Eastern Division, that is St. David's, Brentwood, Humpty, Birchwood, and he gave a comparison between the reports of crimes that have been reported for 2021 to 2022, the first half of the year, and we saw that there was a decrease in detection. However, that is not sufficient, even if that little illustration as to that young man. And I love it for doing that presentation. And just because someone would have flipped the chart, the information was distorted. And this morning we are asking of you, the general public, to come on board with us, partner with us, so that we can not just flip the chart to give misleading information, but that we can allow the information to be altered in a downward motion. So bear in mind, listeners, that you can call in to the studio and share any concerns, any comments, any questions you wish to ask. We have the officer in charge of the Eastern Division here with us this morning. Make use of that opportunity. So we'll go back to our guest, Superintendent here. In light of the police and the community working together, what are some of the strategies or initiatives that the Eastern Division is engaging in so that access between the police and the community can be smoother or easily enhanced?
And as you say, I want to again reiterate the point that you make in encouraging the general public to call in and recognize, indicate your concerns. Also, you can have my contact number. That's 407 3725 407 3725. And the country code is 473. I know diaspora, this radio programs goes far and wide in this day and age. So 473 407 3725. Yes, so there you go. One of the approaches, the whole question of networking. Again, the question of establishing community policies, programs, and so on. We have already have within the division at least two CABs. We call them CABs, it's citizen advisory bodies. Mm-hmm. And these are individuals who, just as the name states, are persons, citizens of the community who will advise the police on issues whether it's good or bad. Whatever issues in terms of, you don't have to be a part of the CAB per se to be advising us, but at the same time, we have this body, this that we deem the CAB, that speaks to us from time to time. I have not had the benefit of engaging the CAB upon my taking office in the Eastern Division, but it's something that is workable, and as such, we will, in very short order, engage. Then we try to encourage the whole question of neighborhood watch. Again, it's important that persons look out for their neighbor. Was it in Spider-Man that the Spider-Man himself didn't see the relevance of stopping the robber, and lo and behold, the robber accosted his grandfather, and his grandfather lost his life, and it's something that he had to live with for quite a while. I say this to say, if you're not prepared to watch out for persons in your community, it's chances are it might just boomerang and come your direction. So it's important that you do what you can, contribute to the safety of the community. And there's different approaches. A feeble person cannot accost a strong individual, but he can look out and say, oh, well, and sometimes a word to the guy on another occasion or same time, you just listen, they're not good what you're doing. It could work, Sure. Whatever approach, they say, if you continue not to do good, then evil will prevail. And as such, the whole question of neighborhood watch, farm watch, is critical to bringing down what happens. You're seeing this guy always coming, and as I say, neighborhood watch, it goes into the whole question, and farm watch, it goes into the farmers, and it's heart-wrenching when you toil and then someone just come and harvest. You look,
Sure.
Spencer and Bulldog again. And the whole question of the Police Boys Club is something that we have discussed only in recent time. And I myself have even put up myself for being dubbed the commission or the commandant of the Police Boys Club. Because I believe that once we impact on the lives of the youth in a positive way, we can encourage and realize some adjustments, some changes. And in this day and age, when you say your discipline approach should be different and varied, we need to consider the person, the boys, and not just only the boys. We are seeking to engage, and we have engaged the presence of the girls into the club. Sometime we'll have to consider changing the name rather than have Police Boys Club. Come with another acronym or name that will suit our focus on what we want to be doing. So we're looking wholeheartedly to ensure that the police, in partnering with the community and partnering with persons, we can impact and make a difference in going forward.
Right. So, listeners, these are some of the community initiatives some of them is already ongoing, and there are others that we intend to use as means of engagement with you, our community members. Remember, we always say that you hear something, see something, know something, please say something, because that's how something would be able to get done or some solution.
And I just want to add here. One will say here is the officer in charge, and it's all about what the community and what the persons and them can do, and the partnership. What are we bringing to the table?
Mm-hmm.
And as such, apart from the fact that we continue to encourage responding to all incidents, all call for service, apart from encouraging persons to provide feedback, there are some initiatives and some areas that we have been working on. We are embracing technology. We are presently running a new electronic form of documenting incidents and reports in that of our premise system, which will enhance operability. In fact, when you come to the station and you make a report, at the end of your report, you'll be given a code, and you all you need to do, call back in and you quote your code, and this information will readily be populated on the screen, and we can give you a feedback as to what is happening. But we want to stick also to conventional, get in touch with persons and give them a feedback as to what is happening. One thing that we looked at in the Northern Division, I want to replicate in the Eastern Division, and I also say, well, across the board, we can consider this. The whole question of CPR, and mind you, it does not indicate cardiopulmonary resuscitation, but it speaks to, that acronym speaks to something a little different. And yes, we want to encourage CPR with respect to saving lives, because we're an island state, and not just that, we are a lot of water sources, and it's important that persons know what to do when certain situation occurs. But again, we also want to look at using the acronym CPR to connote civility in the manner in which we officers engage the general public. The whole question of the P, professional approach, professional conduct, professionalism in policing, and the R to indicate or suggest the whole question of restraint. So I'm hoping that this can be used as a mantra within the force, and certainly as the leader and the commander of the Eastern Division, is something that I would be encouraging officers to utilize, to adopt in delivery of service. A whole question of how we engage our customer service approaches is something that we want to reach a level where we can wow the public. You come and you reach your expectations is more than just what you considered. You expected the worst case, and you realize that your matter or you were engaged in a particularly totally different manner.
Wow. Well, of course, that CPR approach is, as you rightly say, is not just saving lives, but certainly it will enhance with the utilization of it. It will enhance our relationship with the police and vice versa, the community and us. Because oftentimes, this is one of the turn-off with our stakeholders, with our clientele, as to them coming in, as to how we as police officers respond to them. So I trust and hope that all and sundry would buy into that new mantra of CPR in regards to the police enhancing their own aspect as to how we deal with the community.
Indeed.
But
Indeed.
With all of that being said, I don't know why we have not had a caller as yet, but we will continue to disseminate information to the public. And we are already within the season. I know it's also your season because you've been this cultural person as you are. But as the officer in charge of the division, oftentimes Grenville policing area is a hectic and normally busy within the Christmas carnival. So carnival has just gone and we had our fair share. And there has been so much major activities between carnival to now that of Christmas. Is there anything that you would want to speak to the listeners to about in regards to coming into the Grenville policing area or district for the Yuletide season? May I also hasten to say, to warm your brain on that of the traffic arrangement? I know traffic would be here sometime, but is there anything you would want to forewarn or just remind our listeners on?
Yes. So as you mentioned, we are entering into what we call our Yuletide operations, for 2020. And in this regard, our hope or expectation is that we will run off the operation activities in three phases. If I may just touch on the aspect of the first phase, which will be the pre-Yuletide operational activities. We are scheduled to commence that as of the Monday, the 31st of October. And this will run all the way through to Wednesday, the 30th of November. And during this phase, we will ensure that, amongst other things, a level of proactive, preventative approach to the whole question of crime and so forth. And as I mentioned, we will seek to enlighten the public during this period on a number of issues, which we say, well, is the awareness drive.
Okay.
And as indicated, we'll have persons from various units come in and engage on this said platform to bring to your attention and to your notice things that you can do, as we mentioned, the downward arrow, what you can do to enhance your own safety, what you can do to contribute to public safety, what can be done, or what the police will be committed to do in this whole partnership in keeping the place safe. So we'll also have increased operational activities. The whole question of traffic checks and so on, that definitely will be enhanced. The whole question of let me see. Well, generally, those are some of the issues for that period from the 31st of October to the 30th of November. We'll hope that then we'll have the phase 2, and then we'll move on to the phase 3. But for now, this would be our drive or push. And as I say, our partnership is what we're going to be required if we're going to all contribute to that downward spiral.
Right. So we all need to continue to work together for that downward spiral. But as usual, 1 hour only seems to be a lot, but it's never the case. And as such, our program has swiftly come to an end. I suspect our listeners were more intrigued in hearing from you than you hearing from them. But certainly you will be back.
And I thought it best to take the lead. Before, how you call was it John the Baptist? All who come after me, they are greater than me. We have not only just turned the chart around, we also try to flip the triangle. And generally, the triangle of management, you'll see that the manager is up at the top, and perhaps laying heavier emphasis. My wife is a short person; she's shorter than me, and as such, when persons are shorter than you, you have to bow to them in reference. So, and then I look up. So I just say all that to say that the persons who are coming after me, I hope that they will further enhance the position, the strategic plan, the posture as we move forward for this period. Thank you so much for having me here. I've shared my number. You can contact me, and so I can see what can be done to contribute to also ensuring that we do what is expected of us as law enforcement officers. Thank you.
Certainly I can endorse that, because within my tenure here, both serving Western Division and Eastern Division, you're the second officer that had published your number to the public. And the other person who would have done that was Corporal 204 John, in charge of Pretty Alaskan Department. And listeners, that just speaks to the passion that one have for their job and enhancing that oneness between the work that they do and you, the community members. So here it is, you got it straight from the horse's mouth. You don't have to wonder what is his number. He has given you, and I'll just run it again before we get off studio. 407-3725. That is Issa Peer number, Superintendent of Police in charge of the Eastern Division. And in case you're wondering, well, which are the stations he's responsible for? That would be Hermitage, Grenville, Birch Grove, and St. David's. And we just want to continue asking you for your cooperation, continue collaboration, working together in so that we can continue to make Eastern Division the safest to be. We have realized, based on the information given, that the first half of 2022, as compared with 2021, there has been a reduction in terms of the solving or detection of crime, and that speaks well for us. But there are lots more to be done, and it can only be done in collaboration with you, our community members. So you have just heard the conversation with the RGPF. Certainly we will be back in studio next Wednesday with another program as we already dive into the information awareness segment of Operation Yuletide 2022. God bless you. Have a wonderful day. And bear in mind, when you get an opportunity to speak with the officer, you engage that. But he also extended it by sharing his number, 407-3725, Superintendent of Police, Issa Peer. God bless you. Have a wonderful day and week ahead as we say goodbye for now.
Dusty Highway. Email us at info.
Police walking on eggshells for you. We never get it right. It's not just the criminals, but society gives the biggest fight. Unwarranted slander we endure every day. You say police.
Triple N. Informative, entertaining, and first. Every hour on the hour. This is the latest update of news produced by Triple N. Details when we get back.
M&M Hardware Limited, Hope St. Andrew and Dusty Highway, St. George. Shop conveniently for all your building materials, including plumbing, electrical, lumber, cement, steel, and much more. We manufacture roofing sheets available in 11 colors, aluminum windows, doors, inset screens, and hurricane shutters. Installation services are available for all our manufactured products. Our opening hours are Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., Saturdays, 8 a.m. to 3 p.m. M&N Hardware Limited. Come on in and experience our affordable prices, or call us 444-6757 or 440-6757 Dusty Highway. Email us at info@mahonhardware.com.